How do you feel when an interviewer asks you the question, "What's your biggest weakness?" It can be a tricky question to answer, but don't worry, we're here to help. In this tutorial, we'll provide you with valuable tips on how to respond to this difficult question and impress your interviewer. So, let's get started. Before we dive in, if you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe and like button. To help you answer this question, we'll cover 4 important things. First, we'll explain why interviewers ask this question. Next, we'll tell you what weaknesses to avoid when answering. Then, we'll give you 3 essential tips for delivering a brilliant answer. Finally, we'll provide you with 11 excellent weaknesses to use during your job interview. So why does the interviewer ask the question? What's your biggest weakness? There are 3 main reasons. Firstly, they want to assess your level of self-awareness and whether you understand your own weaknesses. This is important because it shows that you're willing to improve yourself. Secondly, they want to evaluate your honesty. Saying that you don't have any weaknesses is not believable, so it's crucial to provide a genuine answer. Lastly, they want to see if you have a plan for improving your weaknesses. When it comes to answering this question, there are 3 weaknesses that you should avoid. Firstly, never say, "My weakness is that I'm not good at working with people." This is not acceptable because every job requires some form of collaboration and customer interaction. Secondly, avoid saying, "My weakness is that I'm not good at timekeeping." Being punctual and completing tasks on time are fundamental aspects of any job. Finally, never say, "My weakness is that I struggle to manage multiple tasks or projects." This is not a good answer because multitasking is a common requirement in almost all job roles. To impress your interviewer, be sure to avoid these 3 weaknesses when answering the question. Before we dive into the 11 great weaknesses to give during a job interview, let's go over 3 important tips for structuring your answer. Tip number 1. Be honest about your weakness. This shows the interviewer that you are self-aware and willing to improve. Tip number 2. Never say that you don't have any weaknesses because you are a perfectionist. This is a common mistake that will make you fail the interview. Tip number 3. It's crucial to tell the interviewer how you plan to improve upon your weakness at the end of your response. All of the following weaknesses are appropriate to use in your response. Take note of one that applies to you the most when you find it. For weakness number 1, a good answer could be, "I tend to focus on details when working on projects. But when there is a tight deadline, this can be a hindrance. I am working on being more mindful and focusing on the end goal of the project to ensure I meet the deadline." As for weakness number 2, you could say, "I take pride in my work and often try to solve problems on my own, which makes it hard for me to ask for help from others. However, I have realized the importance of seeking help from more experienced team members and have been taking steps to improve in this area." For weakness number 3, you could say, "I tend to get too invested in projects and find it hard to move on to the next one. However, I understand that this can affect my employer's goals and have been working on finishing projects and immediately moving on to the next one." For weakness number 4, a good answer could be, "I struggle with giving feedback as I am afraid of hurting someone's feelings. However, I understand that feedback is essential for self-improvement and have been pushing myself to give feedback when it is requested." Weakness number 5 on our list is finding it hard to say no to people. For instance, "I tend to say yes to everything, even when I don't have the capacity to do so. Consequently, in the past, I've become overwhelmed by taking on too many responsibilities. Now, I take my time to assess my workload before agreeing to additional tasks, to make sure I can commit to them. This way, I avoid overcommitting and becoming overwhelmed." Saying that you find it hard to say no to people and sometimes become overwhelmed is a great weakness to mention during a job interview. Weakness number 6 is lacking experience in a specific area. For instance, you could say that you currently lack experience in taking the lead on projects, but you are keen to improve. Gaining experience in this area is crucial for reaching your full potential, and you are eager to learn and grow. Mentioning a lack of experience in a particular area is a safe weakness to share during a job interview. Weakness number 7 is being too sensitive. You could say that you sometimes take criticism personally, but you understand that constructive feedback is vital for professional growth. Therefore, you are learning to view comments as constructive and productive to continually improve. Mentioning that you are too sensitive and working on becoming more mindful is an excellent weakness to mention during a job interview. Weakness number 8 is being too judgmental of other people. For example, in your last role, you might have judged people if they were late finishing a project, or if their work wasn't up to par. However, you're working on improving in this area by offering help or support to improve the team's overall performance. This way, you avoid being judgmental and become more supportive of others. Mentioning that you can be too judgmental and are actively working on improving is a great weakness to mention during a job interview. Weakness number 9 is not having any leadership experience. This weakness is particularly useful for freshers or first-time job applicants. You could mention that you currently lack leadership experience but are eager to improve. Although you won't feel confident leading a team now, you plan to observe managers and team leaders to learn from their tactics and improve your skills. Mentioning that you lack leadership experience but are eager to learn is a strong weakness to mention in a job interview. For weakness number 10, you can say that sometimes you get stressed out when a project runs over its deadline. This is because you take pride in your work and don't want to let your employer down. However, you are learning to stay calm in such situations and focus on finding ways to complete the project on time and meet the required standards. This is another strong weakness to share when asked about your weaknesses in a job interview. For weakness number 11, you can say that you struggle with presenting to large groups of people. This is a common weakness and can be seen as a safe weakness to share during a job interview. You would love to have more confidence in public speaking, but you find it challenging. However, you are making an effort to improve in this area and have even purchased the book on how to improve your confidence when speaking in public. This is a great weakness to consider sharing in your job interview. There you have it. These are 11 great weaknesses you can consider sharing during your job interview. Share your thoughts in the comment section below the video on which one you plan to use. To increase your chances of success and build on what you've learned today, be sure to check our video on 10 things to never say in an interview. This will provide you with more insights on what you should avoid. Thank you for watching until the end, and we wish you the best of luck in your job interview.